2022. Good morning. I didn't turn on the lights yet. Hang on a second. That's going to be better. One more. It's small, but it does help. Good morning. It's Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. My name is Terry Morgan. We're here to practice Xingyi, and we're here to take a little closer look at the movements that I introduced yesterday, put them in context a little bit, and then work on the analysis of those movements and what goes on behind them so that we can improve them. Let's get started. Feet about shoulder width apart, basic stretch. Wiggle fingers, wiggle the toes, bend the knees. Hands circle the front. Back around to both sides. Up along the center line. Reach out. And roll up through the back. Nice and easy. One more. And all the way up. The elbows drop down. Wrists, fingertips, hands return to your sides. I've got something I'm going to talk about just a little bit because it's on my mind and it's talking day. All right. The format that I have been using for these classes, as I look at what I've been doing, and as I look at how easy or difficult it is to follow what I've been doing. This is me going back and doing the reviews. I do that. One of the things that I have spoken about, I've talked about this more than once, is that a lot of what I'm doing here is difficult to follow. It is. It's a long sequence. We're on video. I'm not repeating all that much. There's repetition, but it's not that much. That's hard. It is. And going back and playing the video again, yeah, okay, but it's not the same as being in class. It's not the same as, even if it's a few hours delay, same day. I've got class. I'm going to take her class today. I'm going to try and follow her class today. It's not the same. The lesson that I'm learning, right, is that part of what I'm trying to do isn't working for y'all. That's me as a teacher trying to understand what the student needs so the student can learn. Okay? I can teach all kinds of stuff. Whether or not I make it accessible for somebody else to learn, that's the deal. That's what makes the difference. All right? So allowing somebody to watch. Alright, yeah, here it is, you can watch. You can, that's why I'm producing the videos, you can watch. This idea isn't the same as me trying to communicate an understanding of the art so that it's not just, well, you can watch, but it's also, oh, I understand that concept. Now I can apply it to what she's talking about so I can learn this art. Or, I got that movement. Now, what was I supposed to do with it? That level is part of where I'm trying to go right now. And it's where I'm looking at how to adjust what I've been doing, so that it's easier and at the same time could be more difficult to understand. And here's what I'm going to say about that. As we work through each of the moves, as we work through things, I am prompted to reflect on my own learning. That's also part of what I'm doing here. This is my reflections on my own learning. This is my documentation of what I've learned over 40 plus years. As I'm working through that, is it accessible for someone else to learn? Because that is part of my goal. If it's not, when I look at my own work, right? I'm going to go back and this is critique your own stuff, right? You have to go back and look. I go back, I look at my own work, and I say, what was I trying to do here? As a teacher, what was I trying to do? Did I do it? We ask this very same question in every move that we learn, every technique that we develop. What was I trying to do? Did I do it? Okay, I'm going to put the coffee down so we're going to practice here. That question. As a teacher, if I want to teach this move, what am I going to do? I'm using examples. Alright, yeah, I still do have to pay attention to that. Alright, so, use an example. This is a good one. Horse. What do I do as a teacher? What do I do? I want to help you. You want to learn this move. You're here, you're watching, you want to learn this move. As a teacher, what do? I say, alright, stand there, you watch. Do this. You do it. Go ahead. Do what? Do what I just did. And you look at me and you go, okay. And you do something like this. Right? Sort of, kind of. This comes out over here and this comes out over here, right? What you see, I'm going to do it again. This is what I'm going to show you what I did, and I'm going to show you what is likely a new student might see. What I did, what a new student might see. Right? It's not that different, but it's completely different. That notion that what you see may not be what I'm doing, right? How do I address that as a teacher? How do I address that? What am I going to do? Let me go beyond just show you this, right? Let me give you some instruction for how to do this particular movement and what goes behind it. That's why I'm here. What instruction? Does what I communicate, what I'm saying, my words, help or hurt your understanding of what is supposed to be going on? How can an explanation hurt? Too much explanation, a confusing explanation, a really long explanation that doesn't seem to connect with anything that you were asking, that it can hurt. It doesn't help. Clear answer to a question with a little bit of follow-on if it's necessary, but not too much, gives the student the opportunity to consume that answer. Oh, this was my question. This is the teacher's answer. Got it. Let me work on this for a minute. It's human. We need to pay attention to that kind of thing. All right, so that's part of, and I want a little more coffee here. That's the idea behind what we're doing today. I'm going to go back over what I covered yesterday, what I introduced yesterday, the new moves, the chicken, or the rooster, depending. I think of when I first learned Chinese. And several of my students were, I was there to teach English, so several of my students took me out for Thanksgiving dinner. And we had boiled chicken. And some vegetables and rice. It was a nice dinner. It was a nice dinner. It was cold. I could tell stories about that dinner, but point was, we're having chicken. And they knew that I wanted to work on my language skills. So they said, all right, this is ji, this is sai, this is fan, mi fan. You have to ask for what you want in Mandarin, and then we'll pass you the plate, or the bowl in this case. 请你给我鸡肉。鸡肉, chicken. Give me the chicken. This move, Xingyi chimi, Jin, golden, Ji, chicken. Chimi eats rice, eats grain. Mi can be any grain, but usually rice. In China, chimi, rice. It's not necessarily cooked. It's the grain that's thrown out for the chickens to eat, right? Xingyi Twelve. Hence let me tie that back up. When I first learned the word, ji, I connected it with that chicken. That was where I connected, and that is in fact what it means. Gongji is a rooster, male chicken. It's that language. Put it in context. I'm here. Jump. Step back, step back, step up. Xingyi Twelve. Couple things. No. Yes. Earlier in the form, we have swallow flies through the forest. Here. Xingyi Twelve. A little bit different. We want to pay attention to that. The idea behind, as well as the opportunity, right? Watch my hands. Different intent behind both moves. They're very, very similar. And this is, I'm going to say this again, this is the analysis class, right? So one of the things that we want to analyze is the movement that we're doing, put it in context, and then look at what is or is not present in the current move, what is or is not similar but different. Is there anything similar but different? Right? What kind of thing are we doing? We have two different kinds of birds, right? We have chicken, and we have the swallow entering forest. This notion of movement that goes behind each of the movements that we do. What kind of movement is it? What am I sort of paying attention to? And we need to combine that with our own physical body, our own physical movement, so that we can execute that movement reasonably well, clearly, effectively, and with the correct dynamic, correct timing, correct placement, and the strength and force that we want to bring to the physical movement, as well as the energy and the internal force that we want to bring to the movement. So all of that combines. How do we do that? What goes where, right? How do I assemble all of this? I just gave you a bunch of building blocks. How do I assemble that? What, right? Let's do it. All right. We are here. Step back, step up, come down, out. That whole series is connected by one thought. Three guesses? Chicken. Alright? You know I was going to tell you, but that's the pause for somebody in the room who, or right now there's nobody, to say chicken. Alright? The kind of movement, the way in which I turn, the way in which I pay attention to how to move, all based on what a chicken does. Ever watch a chicken move? Yeah, I did. It's on TV. But yeah, this idea behind that so very many of the martial arts are based on some animal move. A crane, white crane, praying mantis, a whole long list of tiger systems based on the movements of a tiger. The idea behind matters so very much. All right? Pay attention as we move. I'm going to break this down for a second on the two moves that I just showed. And then we're going to continue back with what we're doing in this series. All right, at the beginning of this series, we've just completed bear. And we step back, and then we step up. Xingyi chimney. Right? Step back, step up. As I step up, this foot comes down. Very much the same. As right here. This foot steps up, this foot steps down. The stepping method, the same. Step left, close right. Very straightforward. Getting there isn't so straightforward, but the step is. All right, so we're just paying attention to this one step, putting it in context. How did I get here? Matters. You may not be able to do the movement how I got here. That may not be something that you do today. You have to go back and learn that one if you decide to do that. Knowing where this fits in the form, knowing how I got here, makes so much difference in that ongoing, more complete practice. Breaking down the movement, smaller pieces, gives us the opportunity to look at things in a different way. And I'm trying in a lot of ways to anticipate some of the questions that might come from students if I had some in the room with me. Because what happens in that case, when I look around, I can see, I can look at how the person is moving, and I can see where they're having trouble. Do they know what the movement is? Are they having trouble with their timing? Are they having trouble with their balance? Are they having trouble with what? I can see it. So I say, okay, everybody, wait a minute, pay attention to this. Which is part of what I just did. Hang on. That step, if you're trying to think about, I'm seriously, if you're trying to think about all of that, you're going to miss this. You will. It's too busy. At some point we have to do that extension. We have to pay attention to all of that. But right now, this one move, just this one, not 4 or 5, this one. And this, I'm emphasizing this partly because it's something that I encountered especially early on in my studies, that I'm missing this one piece. I don't want all of this. It's just one. And part of my study has been to focus on just this one. So that as I build building blocks, so as I build, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. Questioning that. I know what I'm doing. Is it correct? I don't know. Let me ask. All right? Let me ask myself. What are the principles behind this move so that I can determine whether or not I am doing it correctly? Start with a step. As I just a step. Just that. All right? Both these moves, same step. From the point that we step left and bring the right up to close. What am I doing? What am I doing? I have a weight shift, a weight transfer. I have a lower body technique. A couple of them actually. As I step, right? Forward movement, not backward. So I'm going forward. It matters in context. Remember, we've just been going backward. So I'm going forward now. As I step, this foot has to be well placed. Notice that my knee's already bent to take my weight. That's partly my injury and partly what you should be doing. I'm already here. Xingyi stance. Santi bu. We didn't practice this morning. Okay? Left. As I transfer my weight through, it happens quickly. All of my weight has to go onto my left, and I need to bring my right foot up. And I'm not going to do this hard to close it. That step down, in practice, Watch my placement of my feet. So right here, step, step, close, right there. All right? Step and close. I'm putting my hand I put this one over here so you can see the line, and this one over here so you can see my waist, right? The step doesn't have a lot of movement to it other than through the leg. Step, close. Now, consider, we're just talking about the step now. Consider the balance on the left side as you step for a step that's going to bring this foot down on someone else's foot as you step in. No, it's not nice. It's not I know that's part of the technique. That's application. If we're not paying attention to the idea that there could be an application here, what, are we dancing? I didn't spend all the time learning this to turn it into a dance step, all right? It's not. There's also one more. As I step up, this idea that all my weight has to come here so that I can bring this foot up to step down. It could also go there. And then step down. It's an opportunity. It's not directly here. This is directly down. The hands got something to do with this as well. We're paying attention to body parts. All right, as I step down. So, I step in and step down. Where might my opponent's foot be in this position? If I just step down on my opponent's foot? We're going to be pretty close. Yeah, we're going to be pretty close. Do I want that? Don't know. Depends. Depends. It really does. It depends. If I'm already that close, well, here we are. Using the whole body. Right? Different hand movement. Same step. We want to pay attention to this kind of thing as much as we want to pay attention to the differences. This kind of thing being the similarities. As much as we want to pay attention to the differences, it gives us a greater opportunity to actively develop and be able to use what it is we're practicing. On another level, this step. Step and close. As I step up, I have to know two things. Where's my body? I need to bring my body with me. Right? No. I'm going, yeah, hey, no. I'm going. Take everything with you. That balance point, right here, stepping into that balance point is something that we absolutely want to cultivate. That center, whether you're going to think about, I'm going to use this in application, or whether you're going to think about, here's my balance point and I want to bring this foot down close. And I'm going to bring it down Not going to just drop it. Actively going to hold it and bring it down. That idea, that skill, we use in walking. We use every time we get up and sit down, get up from a chair or sit down in a chair. That movement in the hip, change in the leg. Strengthening that is a good thing, right? The more we use the joints, and this is, again, there are certain things that we want to do in Xingyi, using what we've got, but doing it in a way that is constructive, not destructive. So as I bring my foot down, I don't want to do that too hard. It's going to hurt my foot. Whatever's underneath me is probably stronger than my foot. Don't want to hurt your foot. But that sense of closing and sticking, I absolutely do want that. That resistance as I close. So as I bring the foot down, resist. I got to push against something here. Riding a bicycle, we got to use this. Riding a bicycle, there we go. Push that down. All right, this engagement of the muscles in the leg. On the other side as well, they're engaged here, right here. As I step through, hold through the hip, hold through the back of the leg, because that's what's going to keep you in balance. How do you hold that balance? Well, first you have to know where it is. Second, use the back of the leg. Right here. Big muscle, back of the leg. As you step, hold the hip, hold into that, hold in, pull in, and up through that big muscle in the back of the leg, so that as you step, that muscle pulls in and up and holds the leg in place. Hold the hip. That gives you a solid foundation to step onto, to transfer your weight onto. Pull through the toes, hold through the back of the leg. That sense of what I'm doing physically. I'm going this way. Not a question. It's not a question. That idea behind defines how we move. It defines the timing. It defines the quality of the movement. This is correct. And I'm just doing the step. This is not. Do the not one again. See, a couple things that I did with my body, a little bit with the balance, I made it incorrect deliberately. I was not solidly placed. I was not properly placed when I transferred my weight. So by the time I got there, I was already off balance. A little bit. Knowing that, being able to find that in your own practice, asking yourself, this is the teacher asking the student, asking yourself, was I well placed? Did it feel right? Did it feel like I stuck myself right there? I'm not going anywhere? Nailed that position? Did it feel like that? What did your body tell you? I know I'm beating up on this a lot today. That's all right. It needs to be done. All right. That sense, What did your body tell you? We need to listen to that. We need to pay attention to that, because that gives us so much of how to move. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not. Seriously. All right, let's look at what we were doing yesterday, and I'll start to wrap this up a little bit. We had bear. All right, from here, step back with the left, change to the right. Here, step back and change, step back again. That step is fairly light, it's not heavy. Just enough. 10% maybe. 90's over here. That's all. Here. All right. Right leg front, left leg back. I'm going to step back with the left. 60 to the front, step back with the left, out with the right, step back with the right. As you step, that little hop, we want that. It's not affected. All right, so let me show you what I mean here. Step back with the left, step back with the right. No, don't do that. No. I'm here. Solid and yet light. I'm not going anywhere. But if I wanted to jump just a little bit, I could. Chicken. Right? I'm sorry, that's the best way I do things like that. That idea. Bear. Chicken. Right? As we switch, as we change, the change in the movement, the way that we move, needs to change as well. That underlying idea, what goes behind. As we step up, okay? So, one more time, I'm here, right foot front, left foot back. Now I'm going to step back with the left, out with the right, to left, from here, right hand, step up, punch down. Right? As this turns, come here, right there, my name. Or you've got one leg up, I'm going to step in, I'm going to step on your other foot while I'm holding your leg. Maybe, I don't know, depends on how big you are and how fast I can move. that come in idea in swallow flies through the forest down to go in. I'm protecting myself over here. Hi, how are you? Did you really want this hand too? That idea behind. What's going on over here? What am I doing? Well, next. These questions, I'm put that way. What am I doing? What might I be doing? What are the opportunities that this movement presents to me that are not presented by other movements? In Xingyi's 5 elements, we have Zhuan and Heng Chuan. Zhuan, Heng Chuan. Yes, let me slow it down a little bit. Zhuan, Heng Chuan. What's the difference? What's the difference? Use different words to talk about them. Well, yeah, I did. Zhuan is and Heng Chuan are different. They are. What else is different? Zhuan is drill. That idea of twisting and driving in. Heng Chuan, crossing. Coming across. Moving this out of my way. Go. Now, I'm not going to do this probably ever. Okay? Not going to happen. This I would do. Notice what I did differently. I turned my body. My arm doesn't have that much strength out over here. It does not. It does here. From here to here. That's the difference between these two fist methods. Xingyi Twelve Animals. They're different. Keeping clear what's the same and recognizing what's different gives us another level of skill. Of course it does. Right? That, I know what this is, I know what this is, I can use both of them. I know how to distinguish the dynamic in this move from the dynamic in this move. The direction of force, the way in which I engage that force, different upper body movement, different connection through the waist, different direction, even though the resulting move has the same appearance. Xingyi Twelve. Yeah, it's a ruling. I should have stepped, right? Here, twist to come out. I've just done, pay attention, Anna, where are we in the form? What has the sequence of the form given us to know what to do here? Look familiar? Should. Hi. In Xingyi Twelve, what has the form given us? One, two, three. Right? The form told us what to do. We just haven't listened. It does work that way. It really does. This, and I'm going to wrap up for today. This idea, comparing this one to that one, looking at what's common together with what's different. This analysis of what goes behind the movement. And how do I know? How do I know? Teacher told me. Okay, cool. What'd the teacher tell you? What's your body telling you? You gotta listen to that too. If the two are in harmony, what the teacher's telling you and what you feel are in harmony, great, keep going. Because you're probably learning something, it's going well. If you're not sure, ask. And pay attention to the answer. Ask yourself more often than you ask someone else. And then as we practice, as we move through each of the animals in this form, as we move through, literally move through each of the forms, each of the movements, we want to pay special attention to the character and the nature behind those movements, so that as we look at what we're doing, we can read what the form is telling us. How do I move? What do I do? What am I supposed to be paying attention to in this particular movement? Bird. In this case, it's a chicken. What does a bird do? Bird moves differently than a dragon. Bird moves differently than a tiger. Sparrow moves differently than chicken. Thai bird moves differently. White crane moves differently. Right? We have crane movements. We do. The idea behind gives us the dynamic and the nature of the movement if we listen. I'm going to be back tomorrow we're going to refine this whole series and pay attention to physical movement, and pay a little bit more attention to how that waist turns and how we generate the energy to drive the movement forward. I hope you'll join me for that on Thursday and Friday, Wudang Qigong. Thank you. I appreciate you being here.